Hi folks, and welcome to today's video, why herniated disc recovery can feel so hopeless. Now, first time here folks, my name is Colin. I make a lot of great content to get folks with low back pain problems back on the road to recovery. Lumbar disc herniations, sciatica, lumbar stenosis, lumbar arthritis. If you're suffering from those things, hit that subscribe button. Now, today's topic is one of the most painful, difficult mental aspects of recovery that I'm going to dive into today and give you guys a solution to get back on the road to pain-free recovery. So let's dive in. Hi folks, so a bit of a different format today. I'm outside today with my family. I wanted to make this video for yourselves because today's topic is one of the most difficult to overcome when it comes to a lumbar herniated disc recovery journey. Now, as I said, if it's your first time here, I have gone through an L5-S1 herniation twice in my time. I've brought myself back twice with my own rehab program, my own strength training program. I've helped hundreds of other people around the world, both in person and remotely, to get back to pain-free living. Now, one of the most common issues I hear, people who come to me and people who ask me questions, on YouTube and emails, is, Colin, I am depressed. I feel hopeless. This recovery is taking so long. How long does it take and why is it taking so long? What is the issue with this particular injury? Now, I went into this last week in that the fact that this injury physiologically is very difficult than when you break your arm or, you pull a muscle, where you can say 6 to 8 weeks for a broken arm, maybe 4 to 6 weeks for slightly pulled muscle. With a disc herniation, we're talking a year, sometimes 2 years for full recovery. And the big problem is a lot of practitioners in the physiotherapy field, doctors, it is not explained to people how long this process actually takes. And it leaves people feeling very hopeless because they've never had this type of issue before, never had this injury before. They don't know what they're in store for. And the reality is, it is a long marathon of a recovery journey. There is no quick fix to this recovery. And it can have people feeling depressed, sad, angry, a big feeling of hopelessness. And, I talked to a lot of people on my free advice call, and people have come to me, and I've had people crying on the advice call. I've had people, desperate situations. I've had people who've told me they've considered, doing some extreme things to themselves because the state of their injury is so bad, like the pain, the time it's taken to recover, they can't get through it, and they didn't know where to turn. They were getting no help from the medical system, from their doctor, the primary care physicians, physiotherapists, chiropractors, whoever they were seeing. And it really was very troubling to hear this from people. And I made quite a few videos on sort of things that you can do to get over it, to some degree. And in today's video, I'm actually going to be giving away something which will help people who are struggling at any stage of that injury get back on track. Okay. Now, the issue with things feeling hopeless is because the injury does take a long time. So when you go to rehabilitation, it can sometimes take 4 weeks to see an actual improvement, sometimes maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, because improvement can be very slow depending on the age the person is, depending on their state of injury, their state of physical maturation when they were injured, like how fit they were, if they got some other problems, obese, arthritis, all these other issues can come into play. But also the recovery is not linear. There's a couple of things that people don't realize that is very, very common. Setbacks, okay, are very, very common with herniated disc recovery. It is very normal to be going along in a path and then you get a setback, you come back, a little bit, and then you have to build up again, and then you come back down, build up, come back down. This is very normal, and again, it is not very well described. People don't talk about it very often in recovery, but it will happen. Another thing will happen for most people as well is very often you have back pain from the herniation that will dissipate, and then along comes the sciatica nerve pain that very often will happen later. That happened in my case, for example, the first time that I herniated the disc, and people find that very strange. Okay, you've never had this issue before. Again, the practitioners don't explain to you what the recovery journey will look like, and you're like, what's going on here? Why am I not getting better? Why is this still, I've got pain, I've got tingling. And especially with nerve recovery, especially if the sciatica nerve has been damaged, you've had a very large herniation, the sciatica nerve can take 2, sometimes 3 years to fully recover, fully repair, because nerves, they heal at a very, very, very slow rate. And again, if you're over 40, 45, everything is much slower, okay, for it to recover. So this, I mean, when you put all these things together, of course, it's very normal for people to feel, hopeless, how do I keep going forward, etc. Well, one thing I talk about a lot is a journaling, okay? Keeping a journal of your activities, of your exercise, or your physiotherapy, because you can look back and see how far you've come. Because at the times where, you've had a setback or things seem to be going so slow, because very often you won't see the progress yourself because people are generally too critical upon themselves. And it won't be till you maybe meet a colleague you haven't seen for a little while, or you've gone to a physiotherapist and you've gone away and you've come back to that same physio maybe a month or two later, they can see the improvement that you've made and that, wow, you've come a long way. But also recording down what it is that you have actually done in the previous months, and you look back yourself and say, oh, I was doing, 5 push-ups back then, now I'm doing 15, okay? You've obviously got much stronger, right? So keeping a journal of your activities, exercise, sort of log, if you will really help you see where you've come from, okay, and where you've got to at that stage. Now, another big area is the psychological aspect, because nobody actually gives you any support in that field. I've never come across any physiotherapy clinic, rehab clinic, primary care physician, orthopedist, neurologist that will actually give you that support if it's necessary. And as I said, I've had people crying on calls, I've had people contemplating doing some crazy things to themselves because of the situation that we're in. So I went away, and my postgrad was sport and exercise psychology. My wife actually did clinical psychology postgrad. So I wanted to go away and I wanted to create something for my clients that would help them get past those dark days, help them to, sort of change their approach to how they look at their injury, what they can achieve. So I went and made a guide, okay, a PDF guide basically, and it was using CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, and mindfulness, right, to reframe people's thoughts and to get them thinking more positively about what they can control and what's not within their control, and what they can do to make themselves feel better about the particular injury. So I made a guide, and within there, it's basically a practical guide that you can use. It gives you some history of these modalities, techniques, worksheets, etc. And I'm giving it to you guys for free, okay? Normally I give it to my paid clients, okay? But it's become apparent that this issue is a very, very big issue that is affecting so many people I speak to, all right? A lot of my free call clients. This is one of the main things I do ask a question about, how they're coping psychologically, and it really is a huge burden, all right? Because the lower back is affected in so many different ways, just because it's a sort of central base where you're moving around, sitting, standing, walking, etc., that you can't just put your arm on a sling and you can do your daily stuff. It affects people like so intensely. So I thought, right, I'm going to give something back by basically, I created this guide for my clients, but now I'm going to give it to you guys for free. Okay, now I do understand that some people are all calling, I need to give you something, like I can't take it for free, okay? So in the description down below, there's going to be a link where you can download it. Just click on it, it's an instant download, all right? It comes from Google, my Google Drive. But if you do feel that you can't take it without giving me something, there's a link, it's a Stripe link, and you can also have a PayPal link. You click on there, and you can basically donate what you think it's worth. Okay, so if you think it's worth $2, $1, 50 cents, whatever, but I'm not saying you have to, all right? It's just that some people don't like to take things for free, okay? But if you wish, as I say, I've made it for free, it's not an issue, but I do know that some people say, look, I need to give you something for your time, for the work that you've put in, so there's a link there for you to do that, all right? Now, the guide itself is going to be very useful, okay? Even if you don't think you're going to need it, take it, have a look at it, because there will be times, I can tell you myself from personal experience, right? For myself, obviously somebody who has been a rehabilitation specialist for like more than 20 years, I've had numerous injuries, and I'm telling you guys how to get back from injuries. And sometimes myself, when I'm injured, it's like, wow, I'm telling people to get back to being pain-free, and I can't even get there myself, right? Well, now I am, okay? But I myself, I've been there myself, right? I've worked with people who've been in the same situation. They've came back, they've used my guide. It's basically based around, clinical research, techniques that actually work, okay? So I want you guys to use it, utilize it, because it's an area of this injury which, as I said, very few people actually talk about it. It's something which is, in my opinion, it's not touched on, and it should be, right? Because this injury, I mean, it was 1 in 3, 1 in 4 people are going to get severe back pain at some point during their lives. So it definitely has to be something which is pushed out there into the ether, okay? So feel free to share it, guys, okay, in the link, description down below. Download it, okay, share it far and wide. If you like, you've enjoyed it, you want to give me something, feel free, okay, give me a couple of bucks, it's not a problem, all right, if whatever you feel it's worth, okay. Now, this video is a short video today, but I just wanted to, give something back and say, look, I do understand where people are coming from, okay, when it comes to this injury, the hopelessness, the depression that can go through your mind as you're trying to recover. So if you find this video useful, don't forget, of course, to like and share, and of course subscribe for more get content. There's a couple of videos going to pop up after this one, which go more into CBT, mindfulness, the actual sort of techniques themselves and things that you can practice, okay, along with the guide. All right, so stay for those things. But aside from that, guys, look, if you've enjoyed this content, subscribe for more great content, like, share, and I'll see you guys later. Have a great day.